So there are a couple of things that have come out in terms of mainstream concern about ChatGPT in particular, and you wrote an article in the Atlantic about one of them, which is
Right.
college essays in academia.
Yeah.
And apparently, a lot of college students are just like, "Wait, why am I sitting here writing an essay when I can just freaking get this bot to do it for me?" And there have been a number of students that have already been caught doing that, and there's been a freak out in the humanities, which has already diminished markedly over the last number of years in terms of students. But now everyone's like, look, man, like, I can spend years trying to figure out how to dissect this literary piece, or I can just have a bot do it for me in 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, I think it's like the humanities are the ones that I thought about because it's like the essay is the basis of the humanities. It's basically all you learn to do. But like the people who are really freaking out are like MBAs, right? And like the people, a lot of things work on like in take home exams. Dead. Don't like never anyone who assigns a take home exam is not providing an efficient method of controlling anything else except your access to a large language model at this point. I mean, my son, who's in grade 11 in high school, he said to me, like, he overheard in the hallways the other day, like, somebody say, "Hey, did you do the biology assignment?" And they're like, "No, I just got ChatGPT to do it." Right? Like, it's like it's already here. It's already happening. I mean, the one thing I did get wrong in that piece is I didn't think academia would respond as quickly as they did, right? But you're right, they're freaking out. I mean, they're like, I have a friend who says who's an Italian professor at university here, who said he's going straight to oral exams. He's just going to go to oral exams followed by an in-class essay, right? Which is like, I mean, the last time they did that seriously at a university level was the 19th century. Like that's like the Oxford method of education. But I think we are going to have to go back to that.
It would be very hard to fake that stuff. I mean, that there's a lot of chicanery happening in admissions processes where people submit these outstanding materials, then you meet them and you're like, what the heck? Like, there's a massive disconnect. So it might place a premium on in-person interviews for admissions at every level.
100%. Well, I mean, I think certainly, I think I don't think people have been talking about it for admissions essays to like Ivy League schools and stuff because that's obviously so central to people's lives and that like
Or
has
at least
such a
journalists' lives.
yeah, exactly. Right. No doubt about it. But I don't think it would be very useful there because, what ChatGPT is really good at and all these large language models ultimately are very good at, is filler, boilerplate. Stuff that is like that is not necessarily like a personal expression, right? Like, and I think one thing that's going to happen is you're going to see a lot more emphasis on the personal, on the intention of the author of an essay being involved, rather than what the way I was taught how to write essays, which is basically still how I make my living, is like here's an idea, give your own perspective on it using sources in a very standardized, you know, mechanical way, in a structured argument. And like that's what I was taught from the age of 6 to the age of 25, really. Like that was my education, was how to do that. And ChatGPT does really it doesn't break the power of the intention. It doesn't break the power of being able to make an argument, but it definitely breaks like the just simply being able to put things in a paragraph in a good structure in a way that makes sense, right? And that was a very hard fought skill for me, and now you can do it with a click of a button, right? So it's not going to change everything, but a big thing is definitely changed.
Yeah, my move. Now I'm going to be helping, cheaters everywhere, but whatever. My move would be to have it generate all of these paragraphs, and then I'd just go through and edit and tweak everything and try and like personalize it,
Exactly.
et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's a breeze.
What it ends is the blank page, like the confrontation with the blank page, which is like the torture of writing. Like that is the hard part for sure. It just removes it, right? And yeah, like people are saying, well, they're going to watermark the text and so on, but like, these are ultimately, you can, if you change a word in every sentence, they're not going to be able to tell. If you make the punctuation poor, they're not going to be able to tell. Like GPT-3 has perfect punctuation, right? So if you make the punctuation slightly off, they will not be able to tell, right? So
This is now a crib sheet for cheaters. Andrew Yang and Stephen Marsh. How
yeah,
how to
well,
fool
but I mean,
the AI
essentially,
spotting software.
like there was one of the first students who was caught in New Zealand was like they said cheating, right? And they said it's not cheating. You told me I couldn't use other people's work, but this isn't other people's work. This is a machine, right? Like if you go by your own definitions, like I'm allowed to use a thesaurus. Like when I was a kid, I
This is
mean
a
this is
tool.
date. This is dating me a little bit, but when I was a kid, like I was not considered any good at English or writing because my spelling was not optimal. It was good, but it wasn't great, and my handwriting was terrible, right? And those were the metrics of, elite literacy when I was 10 years old, right? Like it's now like spelling used to be half the battle of getting a grade in an English
I,
class.
I won a spelling bee in fourth grade, but continue.
Did you?
Yeah, I
What was the
did.
word you won on? Can you remember?
I forget. It wasn't even that hard. It was like fastidious or something. Whatever.
Of course you won a spelling bee. That makes absolutely perfect sense to me.